Imagine walking into your local grocery store only to find empty shelves where your go-to essentials used to be. It might sound extreme, but recent global events have made this a growing reality. Climate disasters, economic instability, and rising international tensions are all throwing a wrench into food production and distribution. And here's the kicker. It's not just the obvious crises that are causing shortages. Behind the scenes, subtle but serious shifts are happening. Farmers are struggling with unpredictable weather, supply chains are getting tangled, and even changing consumer habits are influencing what makes it to store shelves. When you add in the rising cost of food, it's no wonder people are paying close attention to what experts are saying. So, what can you do? The best move is to stay ahead of the curve and stock up on key foods before they disappear or skyrocket in price. That's why today we're breaking down 9 essential foods you need to grab now. Items that are not only nutrient-rich and long-lasting, but also smart investments for your pantry. Don't wait until it's too late. Let's get into it. 9. Honey. Imagine reaching for a jar of honey one day only to find empty shelves where it used to be. It sounds unlikely, but honey is becoming a more uncertain commodity due to a perfect storm of global disruptions. Pollinator populations are declining at alarming rates, extreme weather is making beekeeping more difficult, and geopolitical tensions are shaking up international honey supply. Bee colonies are under threat from pesticides, habitat destruction, and unpredictable temperature swings, all of which reduce honey production. But there's more to the story. Did you know that the Ukraine conflict isn't just affecting grain exports? It's also disrupting major beekeeping regions that supply honey to Europe and beyond. And closer to home, U.S. farmland in states like Texas is being repurposed for nuclear energy projects to support the growing AI industry. Fewer farms mean fewer flowers, and fewer flowers mean less food for the bees that produce the honey we rely on. Why should you care? Because honey isn't just another sweetener. It's one of the most valuable foods you can stockpile. Unlike sugar or artificial syrups, honey never spoils thanks to its low water content and high sugar concentration. It's also packed with natural antibacterial properties, making it a useful remedy for sore throats, minor wounds, and even immune support. Plus, it's an essential ingredient in marinades, sauces, baking, and even emergency nutrition when you need quick, energy-packed calories. If inflation keeps rising or supply chains take another hit, honey could become far more expensive, or disappear altogether. And since honey's flavor and nutrient profile are influenced by the flowers bees pollinate, any disruption to their ecosystem means reduced yields and less variety. The good news? Stocking up is easy. Keep a few jars of raw, unprocessed honey in your pantry, sealed properly to maintain its quality. If it crystallizes over time, a gentle warm bath will bring it back to its liquid state, with food industry insiders, including the CEO of Whole Foods, warning that some pantry staples may soon be impossible to source. Honey stands out as one of the smartest foods to grab now. It's versatile, it's long-lasting, and once it's gone, it's not easy to replace. 8. Canned vegetables, low sodium. When grocery store shelves start looking bare, fresh vegetables are often the first to go. But if you think frozen is your only backup, think again. Low-sodium canned vegetables might not be the flashiest option, but they're one of the smartest ways to keep nutrient-packed foods in your pantry when fresh produce becomes scarce. Climate crop failures are becoming more common, with extreme droughts, floods, and unpredictable weather patterns affecting major agricultural regions. California, for example, continues to struggle with water shortages, which limits how much fresh produce farmers can grow. Meanwhile, geopolitical tensions, including the war in Ukraine, have disrupted global supply chains for tin and aluminum key materials used in canning. If metal shortages slow down production, the supply of canned goods could shrink overnight, leaving store shelves emptier than you'd expect. That's why stocking up on low-sodium canned vegetables is a game-changer. Whether it's canned spinach, green beans, corn, or tomatoes, these options provide essential vitamins and fiber without the worry of spoilage. And unlike high-sodium versions, low-salt varieties let you control your seasoning, which is especially useful if you're cooking with other salty ingredients or trying to eat healthier under stressful conditions. Let's talk storage. These cans last 1 to 2 years or more when kept in a cool, dry place. Once opened, they stay fresh in the fridge for several days, making them perfect for meal prepping when grocery trips are limited. You can toss them into soups, stews, casseroles, or even blend them into sauces. And the best part? They're affordable, especially if you buy in bulk during sales. Just a quick tip, check for dents or rust before buying, since damaged cans can compromise food safety. As more extreme weather events threaten food production, even the CEO of Whole Foods has warned that some staples could soon be impossible to source. Don't wait for the next shortage. Grab a few cases of low-sodium canned vegetables now and secure your supply of essential nutrients before they become the next hot commodity. 7. Seeds for sprouting. When grocery store shelves run empty, fresh vegetables are often the first to disappear. But what if you could grow your own nutrient-packed greens right in your kitchen, without soil, sunlight, or a garden? Sprouting seeds are one of the most underrated survival foods, offering a fresh, crunchy, and highly nutritious solution to food shortages. Sprouting seeds like alfalfa, broccoli, mung beans, lentils, and radish provide a powerhouse of vitamins, minerals, and enzymes that your body craves. They're incredibly easy to grow. Just a simple jar, a bit of water, and a few days of patience will turn dry seeds into a vibrant, living superfood. In times of food scarcity, being able to produce your own fresh greens at home can make a huge difference in both nutrition and morale. Global disruptions may not seem connected to tiny, sprouting seeds, but they are. Supply chain issues, trade restrictions, and even land use changes are making specialty crops like sprouting seeds harder to come by. With farmland being converted into data centers and nuclear energy sites, fewer acres are dedicated to growing these nutrient-dense seeds. And let's not forget the war in Ukraine, which has impacted the global seed trade and could lead to higher prices or shortages. So why stock up? Sprouting seeds last for a year or more when stored properly in a cool, dry place, making them an excellent long-term investment in food security. They require no cooking, no refrigeration, and almost no effort. Just rinse them twice a day, let them drain, and within 3 to 5 days you'll have crisp, delicious sprouts ready to eat. Sprouts are incredibly versatile. Toss them into salads, sandwiches, wraps, soups, or even stir-fries for an extra boost of freshness. They also contain powerful antioxidants and digestive enzymes, making them one of the healthiest foods you can add to your diet, especially when access to fresh produce is limited. One thing to keep in mind: quality matters. Always buy sprouting seeds from reputable sources to ensure they're free from bacteria or contaminants. As food shortages and climate disruptions become more frequent, sprouting your own greens indoors is a smart, self-sustaining hack that can keep your meals nutritious even when store shelves are bare. 6. Shelf-stable cheeses. When food shortages hit, most people worry about fresh produce, meat, or grains, but what about cheese? It's a staple in so many meals, yet disruptions in the dairy supply chain could make it harder to find and more expensive than ever. If you're a cheese lover or just someone who enjoys having a reliable, protein-packed food source, it's time to think beyond refrigerated blocks and shredded packs. Shelf-stable cheeses could be your secret weapon for maintaining variety, flavor, and nutrition in your diet, no matter what happens at the grocery store. Dairy production is vulnerable to multiple threats, from labor shortages and extreme weather to grain supply disruptions that reduce the number of dairy cows. Even global conflicts can play a role. Ukraine's struggles, for example, affect the availability of livestock feed, which in turn affects milk production. Less milk means less cheese, leading to empty dairy cases and skyrocketing prices. Add in the fact that farmland is being repurposed for data centers and nuclear projects, particularly in Texas, and we may see even more strain on the dairy industry. That's why stocking up on long-lasting cheeses is a smart move. Wax-coated cheeses like aged cheddar, Gouda, or Parmesan can last months or even years without refrigeration if kept in a cool, dry place. Canned cheese might not be as common in some areas, but it has an even longer shelf life, making it a reliable emergency food. If you're skeptical, just look at survivalists and preppers. Many swear by cheese wax preservation because it allows cheese to age beautifully while staying safe to eat. So why should you care? Cheese isn't just about taste. It's a high-calorie, protein-rich food that can turn basic pantry staples into satisfying meals. Add a few slices to crackers, melt it into soups, mix it into pasta, or use it to boost the flavor of your favorite dishes. And in times of stress or scarcity, having a familiar comfort food can make all the difference in boosting morale. When stocking up, make sure to check the wax seals on coated cheeses and inspect canned cheese for dents or damage. Rotate your stock periodically, and if you're feeling adventurous, you can even wax your own cheese at home for extended storage. With food prices fluctuating and uncertainty in supply chains, having a stash of shelf-stable cheeses is a small investment that could pay off big when fresh dairy becomes a luxury. 5. Salt. When people panic about food shortages, they rush for canned goods, rice, and flour, but there's one essential item that often gets overlooked: salt. It may seem too basic to worry about, but without it, Preserving food, cooking meals, and even staying healthy become much harder. From seasoning your food to making emergency rehydration solutions, salt is a critical survival item. And with supply chains becoming more fragile, it's one you don't want to be caught without. Believe it or not, salt production is more vulnerable than most people realize. Much of the world's salt comes from coastal salt ponds where seawater is evaporated, or underground salt mines, where it's extracted in bulk. But with rising sea levels and increasingly violent storms, coastal salt farms are at risk of flooding, destroying entire harvests. Meanwhile, geopolitical tensions like the war in Ukraine affect global shipping lanes, making it harder for countries to import and export bulk salt. If oil prices spike due to military conflicts, transporting salt becomes more expensive, leading to higher grocery store prices and possible shortages. Even a temporary salt shortage can have massive ripple effects. Processed foods rely heavily on salt as a preservative, meaning a lack of it could raise prices on everything from canned soups to frozen meals. More importantly, salt is a survival necessity. If refrigeration becomes unreliable due to power outages, salt is one of the best ways to preserve meats and vegetables. You can use it for curing meats, fermenting vegetables, and even making homemade electrolyte solutions in case of illness or dehydration. Not all salt is the same, though. Iodized salt is essential for thyroid health, while kosher salt is great for cooking and food preservation. Sea salt and Himalayan salt contain trace minerals, but if you're storing salt for survival purposes, plain iodized or kosher salt should be your priority. The good news? Salt never expires, so you can stock up as much as you want. Just make sure to keep it sealed in a dry place to prevent clumping. In a crisis, something as simple as salt can make a world of difference. It's a cheap, long-lasting, and incredibly useful staple that should be in every emergency stockpile. The next time you're at the store, grab an extra bag. You might thank yourself later. 4. Jerky and dehydrated meats. When food shortages hit, people scramble for canned goods and frozen foods. But what happens if there's no electricity? What if the meat section is wiped out overnight? That's where jerky and dehydrated meats become a game changer. These lightweight, protein-packed powerhouses are a must-have for any emergency food stockpile, offering long shelf life, portability, and zero need for refrigeration. Meat supplies are already under pressure. Ranchers are struggling with rising feed costs due to inflation and global conflicts, like the ongoing war in Ukraine. Livestock herds are shrinking, and with extreme weather events, heat waves, droughts, and floods, meat production is becoming less reliable. On top of that, outbreaks of animal diseases and disruptions in supply chains mean meat prices could skyrocket at any time. If a crisis triggers food rationing, fresh meat might become a luxury. Jerky could be your lifeline. Beef, turkey, chicken, and even fish jerky can last for months or even years when vacuum sealed and stored properly. It's the perfect survival food, packed with protein, lightweight, and easy to carry if you ever need to evacuate. That's why truckers, hikers, and military personnel swear by it. If fresh meat disappears from store shelves, having jerky ensures you still have a high-energy, protein-rich option that requires no prep, no refrigeration, and no cooking. Buying jerky at the store can be expensive, especially if you go for premium brands. But there's a simple solution: make your own. Investing in a food dehydrator lets you prepare homemade jerky from beef, poultry, or even fish at a fraction of the cost. Plus, you control the ingredients, avoiding unnecessary preservatives and artificial additives. With food supplies tightening, having a backup source of protein that won't spoil is a smart move. Store it in a cool, dry place, keep the bags sealed, and you'll have a reliable, delicious protein source that can carry you through any crisis. When uncertainty looms, jerky is more than just a snack. It's survival fuel. 3. Hardtack and survival crackers. When food shortages hit, bread and crackers are usually the first to disappear from store shelves. That's why preppers and survivalists have relied on hardtack and survival crackers for centuries. They last for years, require minimal ingredients, and can keep you full even when fresh food is scarce. So, what exactly is hardtack? It's a simple yet powerful survival food made from just flour, water, and sometimes salt, baked until it becomes rock hard. This extreme dryness prevents bacterial growth, allowing it to last for decades if stored correctly. Sailors, soldiers, and pioneers carried hardtack through wars, long sea voyages, and harsh winters, proving its resilience as a survival staple. Commercially made versions are vacuum sealed, with added nutrients and enriched flours, making them an excellent emergency food option. If global grain supplies take a hit, whether due to war in key wheat-producing regions or extreme weather events, flour prices could spike, making everyday foods like bread harder to come by. But hardtack and survival crackers will still be there, standing the test of time. Now let's be honest, these aren't winning any flavor contests. But they're incredibly versatile. You can soften them in soup, top them with peanut butter or honey, or pair them with cheese if you have some stocked up. They're also incredibly compact and lightweight, making them perfect for bug-out bags, emergency kits, or just a backup stash in your pantry. If you're not up for making your own, look for emergency ration crackers, often packed in vacuum-sealed pouches that can be stored for years. While they may seem old-fashioned in an era of microwave meals and grocery delivery apps, these simple, no-frills crackers offer something that modern food doesn't: reliability in an unpredictable world. When supply chains falter, food prices soar, or natural disasters disrupt access to fresh goods, having a stash of hardtack or survival crackers could be the difference between going hungry and staying prepared. 2. Vinegar. When people think about stockpiling essentials, vinegar probably isn't the first thing that comes to mind. But this humble liquid is a secret weapon for survival, offering food preservation, cleaning power, and even medicinal uses. If supply chains break down, inflation spikes, or food shortages hit, having vinegar on hand can make a huge difference. Vinegar, whether white, apple cider, or balsamic, is made through fermentation, a process that depends on stable agricultural conditions. But with climate shifts, droughts, and labor shortages affecting farms, the raw materials needed, like apples for apple cider vinegar, could become harder to source and more expensive. Inflation alone can drive up vinegar prices, just like we've seen with flour, sugar, and other pantry staples. But what makes vinegar truly indispensable in a crisis is its incredible versatility. One of its most valuable uses? Food preservation. Throughout history, pickling has helped people survive harsh winters and food shortages. With vinegar, you can extend the shelf life of cucumbers, onions, beets, and even eggs, ensuring you have nutritious food when fresh produce is scarce. Beyond that, vinegar doubles as a cleaning agent, a lifesaver if commercial cleaning products disappear from store shelves. A simple vinegar and water solution can cut through grease, deodorize surfaces, and even help with basic hygiene. It won't kill every germ, but it's a solid backup when disinfectants are unavailable. And let's not forget the culinary benefits. In tough times when spices and seasonings might be limited, vinegar can enhance flavors in soups, stews, and marinades, making even the simplest meals taste better. Apple cider vinegar also has digestive and immune-boosting properties, making it a valuable health aid when medicine is scarce. The best part? Vinegar lasts practically forever. It's cheap, shelf-stable, and incredibly useful, making it one of those essentials you won't appreciate until you suddenly can't find it. Stocking up on a few extra gallons now could save you time, money, and headaches when the next crisis strikes. 1. Dried herbs and spices. When people think about food shortages, they focus on grains, canned goods, and proteins. But what about flavor? If you've ever eaten plain rice or unseasoned beans for days on end, you know how miserable that can be. Dried herbs and spices might not seem like a survival necessity, but when shelves go empty and options become limited, they can turn bland survival meals into something satisfying. The reality is that spices aren't guaranteed to be in stock forever. Global supply chains make it easy to take them for granted, but the moment a major disruption happens, whether it's extreme weather, economic instability, or international conflict, the impact on the spice market can be swift. Take black pepper, cinnamon, and guacamole. These come from regions like Vietnam and Guatemala, which are highly vulnerable to climate shifts and political unrest. A single bad season or disrupted trade route can make your favorite seasonings scarce and expensive. Stocking up on dried herbs, spice blends, and essential seasonings isn't just about taste. It's also about nutrition and morale. Many spices, like turmeric, garlic, and ginger, have anti-inflammatory and immune-boosting properties, which are crucial when fresh produce and medicine might be hard to come by. Even common spices like paprika and cumin can improve digestion and provide antioxidant benefits. The best part? They last for years if stored properly. Keep them in airtight containers away from heat, light, and moisture, and they'll retain their potency for much longer. You don't need a massive collection. Just a well-rounded selection of garlic powder, onion powder, chili flakes, dried basil, oregano, and mixed seasoning blends can make a huge difference in an emergency. And let's be real, if you're stuck eating canned meats, beans, rice, or dehydrated foods for weeks, you'll be begging for something to break the monotony. Having a stash of seasonings on hand ensures that even in a crisis, your meals can still have depth, warmth, and comfort. Because survival isn't just about calories, it's about making every bite count. Food shortages can happen fast, and when they do, the last thing you want is to be caught unprepared. From shelf-stable proteins to long-lasting seasonings, each of these 9 essential foods gives you an edge when supplies run low. Don't wait until panic buying clears the shelves. Start stocking up now while these items are still easy to find. A little preparation today means security, flavor, and peace of mind no matter what the future holds. Stay ahead of the crisis and take control of your food supply before it's too late.